Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing Week 14 in the NFL. We're doing our usual round of calls with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Joe Duffy takes all the ugly games that none of the other cappers want to touch. Houston, Jacksonville, totally understandable why that would fall to that category this week, is a game we're going to cover right now. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Thanks for being back with us.
All right. Well, thank you, Peter.
All right. So, I always want to emphasize this every call. I don't care if it sounds like a broken record. These are not your top plays. These are not your best bets of the week. Tell everyone what your website, offshoreinsiders.com, is all about, where you do give out only your top plays each week.
Yeah, and I haven't confirmed with you. I assume that some of the plays that I've been giving here that haven't been my premium plays haven't been doing all that well. And although that November wasn't exactly the greatest month with my premium plays in my illustrious 27-year career, we are back on track, to say the least. We're ahead in the NBA and college basketball for the year. In the last 2 weeks, we have turned it around in football big time after a slump in early November. So Joe Duffy's picks, we've been winning for 27 years, and there's a reason. I've had clients that have been with me 10, 15, 20 or more years now at offshoreinsiders.com.
All right. And yet, man, there's a reason why Joe will just take any game that I ask him to cover, and none of the other handicappers that I do calls with will do that. All right. Houston, Jacksonville. This is a tough one, right? Jacksonville 5 or 5.5 point home underdog. Totals 42 or 42.5. And the Jags beat the Giants, right? They finally got a win and a cover, but they're still just 3-8-1 against the spread overall on the year. They also got a bunch of a couple of defensive scores in the second half that were a little bit fluky to get that win. And the Jags are just, they have a solid defense with a bunch of veterans, but they're very young on offense. The offense is kind of stalling out as the year winds down. But then Houston on the other side, they got that huge win. Can Fitzpatrick do it again a second week in a row? I don't know. Maybe he can, but from where I'm sitting right now in this chair, looks kind of doubtful. Maybe you'd want to take a shot with the under. Right now, 42.5 is a widely available line. What's your take on this game, Joe?
It's kind of funny that in all the years that I've been doing this, I've had a lot of people after the fact, customers will second guess, how could you make that pick? Because I subscribe to the theory it is good to pick bad, and it's proven that sometimes you got to go with ugly teams. Now, a rare case where before Sunday, one of my great clients, he's a fantastic client, he said, look, I know you're a good handicapper. Why the bleep do you keep picking the Jacksonville Jaguars? And admittedly, the Jaguars have been kind of part of the reason, as I said, that November wasn't exactly my most illustrious month, but they keep fitting into our angle of one of our performance gap analysis angles. But more importantly, kind of the funny part of that story is I'm just telling you, when I've had clients second guess me before the pick, it's automatic. That pick is going to cover, literally automatic. And the only time it ever loses is when I'm picking like a 200 underdog in baseball. But I think even in those cases, the ROI is way ahead. So I knew the Jaguars were in once I had and he was a very good client, but was second guessing me before the fact. But yet again, the Jaguars fit into my performance gap analysis. It basically says teams with a bad turnover ratio and inefficient defense, they still have a 4.2 Z-score in going with teams like that. But more importantly, exactly what you just said. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's a serviceable quarterback. He's coming off of literally his career game. There is no way he's going to come back with back-to-back games. In fact, his 147 quarterback rating is amazing because in his previous 7 games, he exceeded 100 only once in his previous 7 games. So he is definitely going to come back with a terrible game here. And, we try to look up, you can't really define the term playoff contender, but Houston is theoretically a playoff contender. And I can tell you that I ran a bunch of angles, none which jumped out and screamed, but none in which actually favored teams fighting for the playoffs. Basically, I ran a bunch of angles that said teams with a winning percentage in the 500s this late in the year against teams with a bad winning percentage, and in this case, most of the angles were leaked under 250, et cetera, that the bad team covers in every situation that I ran. But basically, this says that, a team that is in a virtual must-win game this time of the year playing a spoiler. The spoiler covers, so I'm going with the Jaguars again.
All right, plus 5.5 is widely available. But, if you expect a down game from Houston, and we know what kind of team Jacksonville is, right, a team that's pretty solid on defense and questionable on offense and maybe getting worse on offense as the season moves on, why not just take the under 42.5 instead?
Yeah, no, you're right. If I had to pick a total, that would probably be it. Now, in the case of Bortles, he's actually coming off a game which he had no turnovers. Now, maybe somebody, a devil's advocate, may be, well, you're saying go against Ryan Fitzpatrick because he's coming off of a great game. But in the case of Blake Bortles, look, he is a rookie. He's been making a lot of rookie mistakes. The last game, he showed a sign of maybe cutting down on those mistakes. So I think that Bortles showed the last game that he's finally trending a little bit upwards. But yeah, no, if you ask me to pick a total, I would definitely agree, and especially when it comes to but the problem is in a game like this where you have some quarterbacks that can make mistakes, you get a little nervous if there's going to be some defensive scores. But no, I would say the total would be the probably the right play when it comes to, or I'm sorry, the under when it comes to the total. But as you would say, for the purposes of this video, I will go with the Jags.
Okay, we'll see if sharp action comes in any which way on this game. Right now, 5.5 is a widely available number. Thanks so much, Joe.
All right, thank you, Peter.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.